In this episode of the Tech John, we discuss Australia's new under 16 social media ban, Cenat turning down a $60 million bag, and breaking subscription records on Twitch. A reminder that you don't own your social media accounts, and Bluesky is absolutely a thing, and Meta is worried about it. Got all this and more for you in episode 157 of the Tech John from Columbus, Ohio. I'm your host, Robb Dunewood.
And coming out of Philly, it's your girl Tech Life Steph.
And out of Atlanta, this is Terrance Gaines, a.k.a. Brother Tech, a.k.a. coming at you live in 1080p. That's the best I could do right now, but we are looking a little bit better. I had to do some on live troubleshooting with Robb to get my camera set up, but we're 90% there. See if I can figure out how to bump this thing up to 4K, and I'm not going to touch it anymore because I've been having problems for the past 2 months. So I got almost there. I'm going to see how this works for this week, make a little tweaks, and then it's a wrap.
It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely looks good. So
you
Like
see
I
all
said,
the gray. You see all the gray hairs.
That's why I was like, both of y'all, like, God, y'all old.
Yeah, man. I got the salt and pepper on the sides. I tried to get the barber to cut it out.
That's one
He's
thing.
like, yeah, I can't cut
glad
it.
I don't have.
Yeah.
That's just product right there. Mousse.
The gel.
Yeah, a little flaky.
Well, y'all, we just coming off of the Thanksgiving Day holiday. I hope both of you ate everything that you could and enjoyed yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. I'm trying to perfect my banana pudding brownie recipe.
Ooh,
that sounds
Yeah.
good.
So you pretty much make the banana pudding, and then you make it's either cake or brownie batter, and then you mix them together, and then you put it in the oven. First, you got to put the vanilla wafers on top, but then you put it in the oven for like 30 minutes, and you eat it like a brownie, but it tastes like banana pudding.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to perfect it, trying to figure out what I need to add, what I need to take away, because nobody wants to eat it, so I ate the whole thing to myself. So it's almost like, all right, that's too much big back behavior. Let's pare this down to where it's like I get a couple of tastes and that's it, not trying to eat up the whole pan because I feel bad.
Well, y'all, before we get into the show, I do want to let anyone who's watching who would like to support the Tech John know that there's multiple ways you can do it. But the one we're going to talk about this week is our Patreon. If you were to head over to thetechjohn.com, that's the tech JAWN.com /Patreon, you'll find that we've got multiple tiers over there, any one of which gets you access to our live stream and after party. We are recording this show live on the internet. We've got people in our live stream who are watching this recorder right now. You'll get to hang out with us. And then we do an after party for about a half hour after the show and just kind of talk about whatever with our audience. And, that goes a long way to help us support us doing and bringing this news to you the way that we do. So once again, if you would like to support the show, the way we're repping this week is our Patreon. So head over to thetechjohn.com /Patreon. And with that, this was a big piece of news that actually all kind of happened quick. Australia, they have actually passed a law. So this is not theoretical any longer. They have passed a law that social media is banned for children under 16 years of age. Now, starting in January, they're going to start figuring out how do they actually enforce this. So it'll be next November when it actually goes into effect. But, as far as what the government is saying right now, they're banning all social media for children under 16 years of age. That seems a bit drastic. It's one of the most drastic social media bans in the world. But something tells me that you're going to see a lot of other places, potentially even here in the United States, that may take some cues from what Australia's got going on.
Go ahead, Brother Ty. I'll let you go because I have so many thoughts.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think so. Let me tell a story. I'll give you an analogy. In college, I was a resident assistant for the freshman dorm. Every time we have the kids come in, we tell them where everything is. They unpack. They say goodbye to their family. But before they actually start school, my job as the resident assistant for this particular floor is to kind of group all the kids together and tell them the do's and don'ts of the dorm. Do this, don't do that. The two things that I could count on that as soon as I say don't do it, they're going to do the exact opposite. The first one is don't bring no girls in here. They're going to do the exact opposite. And number two, do not pull the fire alarm. And then before the school could get good and started, fire alarm was pulled. So I say all that to say, I don't know if telling people you can't or trying to prohibit them from doing something is going to work, especially when we're dealing with kids. We're talking about teenagers. You tell them you can't do it. Oh, I'm gonna show you, and then I'm gonna go do it. So I don't know if this. I don't know. This may work. This may be the beginning of some kids just having to deal with it. Australia is not the huge place on the planet, so they can kind of wrangle their kids together versus spread out over United States or Europe or Africa or whatever the case may be. But I don't know if kids are going to react very well to you telling them I can't get on the internet until I turn 16. I just don't know if that's going to work.
There are so many things wrong with this attempt to do this. I mean, it just, number one, like, none of the things they're thinking about for enforcement are enforceable. So the idea that you're gonna have them upload a real-time picture of their face and try to know when when they're using a filter. They said they were going to try to use hands as well. Identifying documents, like, what kid has somebody under 16 doesn't have a driver's license, so what identifying documents are they even uploading to prove their age? Like none of it, literally none of it is doable or enforceable without some level of privacy violation. And just the potential for what could go wrong when that data gets stored is just off the charts. I was very curious about YouTube being exempt. I understand the justification was because the schools use YouTube, so they didn't want to have to block it or whatever. But and if you're not blocking YouTube, are you blocking Reddit? Are you blocking
Yeah.
Parler? Are you blocking 4chan? Are you blocking 8chan? Like, there are way more egregious places for young people to go on the internet besides Instagram. So
Right.
there's that. And then I just really wish parents, because part of the justification for this was that they claimed, and I want to read it because I want to get it right. I can't find it, but it was basically saying that they wanted to give control back to parents, and this is not what that's doing. Parents could have had control. You kind of let this thing, and I don't want to just dump on parents right now, but I speak to parents a lot, and a lot of them have checked out of this process. You've handed this kid this phone when they were very, very young, way too young to have a phone. And now you're trying to jam that genie back in the bottle, and I just don't think it's gonna work. We I think parents have an opportunity here to reestablish their authority as
Right.
parents. And I think the schools and government, with schools or whatever, have an opportunity to put some real digital literacy, media literacy, digital citizenship instruction in classrooms. But just saying you're going to ban this is just not the right thing to do. I'm sorry, it's just
Yeah.
not the right thing to do, and it's not going to work.
It's not going to work for those children who already have, and let's just face it, are actual experts in using their devices and getting around restrictions and this and that and the other. Where it may come into play is that, okay, maybe once the law's been in place for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you now have very, very young children who have not gotten the tablet yet, who have not gotten the phone yet. And for them, when they're 7, 8, they just can't get on. It's just not a thing in their world. Maybe it works at that point, but like I'm hard pressed to see how you're going to take a 14, 15-year-old kid next year that
Right.
already is on these platforms
Right.
knows that this is coming up and is not going to figure out a way to get beyond it. Now, will the numbers go down? Yes, the numbers are going to go down. There's some kids who, oh, okay, so I can't use this anymore, and then they don't think about it. But that's a very, very small number. It's probably a measurable number, but I would have to imagine it's in like the 1% difference.
And what about the
one point
kids
five
that
percent
have
difference.
monetized their platforms already at their
Yeah,
young age? Are
that's
you
it too.
really taking this child's livelihood or and possibly this family's livelihood
Not
away from
possibly.
them? You know what I
Not
mean? I'm like,
possibly.
like I don't know. I think about Ryan Kajabi, I think that's his last name, Ryan Toys Reviews. Like, I don't know if he was the quote unquote owner of his YouTube account
Mhm.
or any of his other accounts when they first got set up. But if he was, like, that boy is making millions of dollars. Like,
Hmm.
are you telling these people now, these families now, that their kids can't make money and can't support their families because they're under 16? Like, it's just so many levels of y'all didn't think this all the way through to this whole thing. It's just crazy to me.
One of the other things is that, and what is interesting, you said didn't think it through because it's like the law is in place. It gets banned next November.
Right.
In January, all right,
We
next
gonna
year,
start figuring out
let's start
how
figuring
to
out how
make
we
it
do
work.
this.
Right.
So
Mhm.
the company that they're going with is like a government contractor that has never done anything with children. It's always been
Right.
with government contractors. And I don't want to say that, well, because they've never dealt with children, they don't have the skill set. But you're talking about you're using a contractor that has no experience in banning kids off of social media. So it's going to be a figuring out process for them as well. One of the things that caught my eye was one of the ways that they say they might do this. In order to truly enforce this, everybody has to register. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa,
And
whoa, whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa,
crazy.
hold up. That's crazy. Now, I
Like,
understand that this is Australia, not the United States, but that would never fly here. You're not going to
mm-mm.
tell people I have to register now in order to, I'm all the way grown. I got to register on this, with the government to let you know that I'm over 16 years old.
Right.
Well,
That would
it's
never
kind of
fly here. So we'll have to see what they're going to ultimately come up with. But that seems to be the leading thing out there right now that, oh, everybody just registers and that's how we'll enforce it.
well, it's honestly, it's kind of happening here in the United States, but with pornography, porn websites. They are trying to fight the states and fight the government on who should be responsible for age verification, not the fact that age verification exists. Now, it's just as simple as clicking a box and saying, you're 18 and over, and then they just let you go on about their business. But in some states, I've seen news reports to where some of these websites where users have IP addresses in these states before you can watch anything. There's a lady that comes on the video and says, "Hey, the reason why you got to do this is because of this, and we think the responsibility to verify age should be on the phone or on the web, the browser, or whatever the case may
Right.
be. It ain't our responsibility." But all that around the world to say, "Oh, it's happening," to where there are some sites to where, I mean, of course, pornography is like a high level case, but they're already playing with or trying out the possibility that you will have to register to go on those specific websites. Now, I don't know if that's
Mhm.
a indicator of what could go across social media, but they're trying it in small doses here in the US too.
Yeah, they're definitely trying it. I just don't know that it'll fly. We will see because, like I said, it's not like Australia is not. It's a small country in the grand scheme of things as far as when you think about America and India and in China, and, I should say the United States and and China and India and stuff like that. But it's a bit, there's a lot of people there. They are very, very tech savvy. So it will just be interesting to see what they ultimately come up with because, like I said, this is not. We're going to think about this for the next year. It's like no. We've thought about it for a few weeks. We decided this is what we're going to do.
And y'all got
70%
6
of the
months to make it
population,
work.
yeah, has wanted this,
Mhm.
and they are now going to go figure out how to make it work. So, and
I
are there
was
more restrictive places? Yes, there absolutely are. Like China's way more restrictive than this, but we don't generally think of, westernized countries is where we're generally thinking about where this is very restrictive. It's going to be really interesting. I'm
I was
like I
hella
don't know how it's
skeptical
going to work.
about that 77% as well. That just seemed very high.
I know, didn't it?
If they claim and they polled the people, I can't dispute that, but I was very skeptical. I was like, that seemed a little high. But and don't get me wrong, like, I if I don't understand anything, I understand why we need better guidelines and guidance around social media use for minors. I
Right.
talk to kids every single day that, you know, have thought about self-harm or know somebody that committed suicide, like whatever the case may be. Like I get the reason why people feel so pressed to do something, but this is not that something. And like again, it really falls back on the education that these kids are not getting around how to conduct themselves on
Well,
the internet.
we're not getting kids in high school are not getting budget balancing classes. They're not getting
They're not
tax
getting
return
anything,
class. They're
right?
not getting
They
anything that's
barely have
actually
books,
right. They're
period.
not. We're not getting anything. I'm just speaking for United States. We are seriously lacking in giving kids, high schoolers, the tools to
Functional
move right
education.
Read,
to
do
move
math,
forward.
to know who the president of the United States is, maybe the governor of their state.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
we're
lot
not
of
getting
issues.
it. We're not getting any of that. So what makes
Mm-mm.
y'all think we gonna get some social media training and
I
education?
know, and that's the problem. It's just like I said, and parents also, you know, I always ask like, can you teach empathy? And I think you can try, and that's a part of the problem as well. Like I said, I this is what I do, and I know that these kids have not connected that dot because they, you know, they talked a lot in the article about cyberbullying and suicides and things like that, and a minor has not connected that dot to say, oh, if I go online and be real mean to this person, they might actually go off and do some harm to
Hmm.
themselves. They
Hmm.
have not connected that dot. That's what I do when I go into these schools and talk to them. I connect that dot for them and
Hmm.
let them know that your post could be the last post that somebody sees, like
Hmm.
forever, like literally. And you see the wheels turning, you see the light come on, you see them like, oh man, you know, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. And the students who have felt like that feel seen and validated and everything else. And but that needs to get done at home. Like it put me out of a job. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
sort of education needs to be getting done at home and in school. You know, and it's just we're this is where we're failing our children. We're not failing our kids by not more strictly regulating meta. We're failing our kids by not educating them on the
Proper
the
use.
proper
Yeah.
use of
Hmm.
of these platforms and these tools, and giving them the media literacy training to recognize
Hmm.
misinformation, like all of that stuff. Oh, this is on us. This is not on
Yeah.
Meta. This is not, you know, yes, they've made their platforms addictive. Yes, you know, we all have problems putting our phones down and yada yada yada. But this is on us. You know what I mean? This is on parents and teachers and the government to educate these students in the right way around how to use these tools.
It is absolutely on parents. One of my best friends, you know, it was one of those things to where I think his daughter wanted to get a phone, and like when she was like in the fifth or sixth grade, he
Hmm.
was like,
No,
no.
hell no.
And when she was upset, he's
Right.
like, no.
But
And it's
she
like
got over it.
there's really no conversation after that. So really after probably the, you know, I wouldn't even go a whole week, but let's just say a week or 10 days, she was upset with dad. Well, it's just social media is just not something that she has in her world. So
Mm-mm.
it wasn't until the summer after eighth grade that she got her first cell phone.
Hmm.
And the you know, I remember him saying, here's what the rule is: you get one social media platform, you let me know which one is going to be, because I'm signing up to it first, and I'm going to go just scope it out, and you know, and make sure that I know how to use it. And then once I know how to use it, just give me 2 weeks to get down with it. If I don't already know it, then you can decide if that's the one you want to go with, but you only get one. So choose wisely.
Hmm.
And you know, I don't want to say he's draconian with it. He's just being a dad with it. It's like,
He's just
no,
being a parent. Yep.
you know, I'm being a parent. You know, I'm not going to ask you to, you know, to unlock your phone. I can unlock your phone. I'm not going to, you know, it's like, you know, and I remember someone saying to him, it's like, well, what if like she's throwing her diary on there? Well, don't put it in a book.
That's right.
You know,
That's
if you
right.
want a diary that you don't want me to look like, write it down in a book,
Write it in
write
a
the
book.
words diary on it and sit it on your
Mm-hmm.
desk, and I will never go look at that. But if it's on your phone, it is, you know, I will be looking at it. And here's what he says, and I need
Oh
for you to
man.
understand, I'm not going to always ask you for it to look at it. I'm going to at times just go look at it, whether I'm using the, Steph, I think you got locked
I'm
up
back.
there, but
Yeah.
he says I'm just going to go and look because
I
they use
tell parents
iPhones
all
and
the
iPads.
time.
So he's
I'm like,
looking at iCloud and
listen,
seeing what the pictures is and this and that and the other. But he ultimately has a level of expertise that he expects it as long as I am at least on par with my baby until she gets 15, 16 years old to where she may pass me up, but hopefully I've given her enough life skills at that point that she's not out here doing crazy stuff.
mm-hmm.
It's just going to be that way. And it is a good way to be. I've got another really, really close friend. He did the same thing with his boys. And it's like, throw your phones on the table. It's like
I tell
and he
parents
just checks
all
them.
the time. I'm like, they need to know that you can do a spot audit at any point in time. Like that needs to be in your digital contract that you have with your kids. I can request this phone at any point in time and go through it and look at it and whatever's on it. Like I have to approve everything that goes on. Like it just and it, a lot of parents get very frustrated and oh my God, his phone, I don't know anything. That's not going to fly no more. You know what I mean? Like claiming ignorance or it's too much and it's just I tell her, I'm like, listen, it's one more thing. It sucks because I don't have any children, but I can imagine raising kids is hard, but this is just one more thing you have to do. Like you have to learn how to use your phone. You have to learn how to use these platforms. Ask your kid to show you. You know what I mean? Hey, sit down, show me how you do your TikToks. You know what I mean? Like make it a family thing, but you have to do this work. You have to do this work. There's just no getting around it anymore.
So we will definitely be paying attention to this because I'm interested. How are you going to enforce an entire country of children that has
Right.
social media right now to not use social media a year from now? That's going to be an interesting trick that
Right.
Australia is going to have to try
Right.
to pull off.
Good luck with that.
But we are going to keep it on social media. And this next story that we're going to talk about isn't necessarily new. I don't know if either one of you heard, but the Onion, and I thought this was an Onion article, the satirical site, the Onion, and this is not satire. They actually acquired Infowars. That is Alex Jones. Once he went bankrupt and everything with his platform, they actually bought his platform, from auction. And one of the things that came over with that purchase was his Twitter accounts. And Elon Musk said, and I have to say this, rightfully so said, because this has always been the case with X and previously Twitter, is that wait a minute, you can't just transfer ownership of something that you never had ownership of to begin with. So this was a reminder because X is now basically, got an injunction. It's like, hey, you can do what you need to do with InfoWars, but those accounts are property of X. We own them. We own we own the accounts. We own and when we say we, he really is saying he, because he owns it. He owns the accounts. He owns the followings. He owns those accounts. So I put this in because it's a good cautionary tale to just remind everybody that when you're all the social media we're talking about, all the money that you potentially may be able to make on social media, definitely all the money that you're making for the companies, you don't own a daggone thing
None of
with
that.
corporate social media. So it was like, I'm just going to read the article here. It's like, X's objection to the Onion buying InfoWars is a reminder that you do not need to own, or that you do not own your social media accounts. And we didn't, like I said, we didn't talk about this before, but it is really interesting because a lot of people think that, well, I'm going to go create this big following and I can make money from it. We're just talking about that. What are we going to do with the kids who actually are making money on this? You may be making money, but you have to be very careful because you do not own the accounts. And it reminded me of when last year, when X changed the name of Twitter, or it might have been late 2022, but I think it was in 2023 when they changed the name from Twitter to X. There was someone who was a very early Twitter user who actually had the handle @X, and had a massive following, had 50,000 some odd followers on that account.
Mhm.
And Elon and folks said, "Hey, you want that account back? Here's some swag.
I know. They gave him a
we'll
T-shirt.
we'll give you we'll give you so
So
we'll give you another account." But it's like, you do not own the accounts. They can take them
so
over and do what they want when they want.
is it so here's my question. Is that in fact the case, or is Elon saying that is the case? And what I mean by that is, let's just use your second example. The guy who had that Twitter account X, and Elon said, "Yeah, we need that back." Did Elon just take the account, or did Elon have legal justification for taking the account? Because my guess is, if the dude would have fought and had some money to go to court to drag this thing out, he may have won, and saying that yes, Twitter is or X is an account and whatever the case may be, but they can't legally do this. And I'm curious as to X's objection to the Onion buying Infowars, and Elon just saying that I own those accounts and I can do whatever I want to with them without actually having a legal justification behind that. I haven't done the research. I'm just asking the question, but it sounds like something Elon would say, not necessarily what he actually can do legally.
Right, right. That I mean, that's fair. You know, it I
Well,
mean, I
I
think
have an answer.
by virtue of you signing up for free, I think that's part of what makes the it's yeah, I did Saray said yes and yes. I think it is like both and, because you sign up with the understanding that the company can access and can use
If
any
you're
of
tripping,
your
they can block you,
they
and then
can
they can
but
use
they
your
can also,
content.
yeah, they can use your content kind of in any way, shape, or form. So
Right.
they do have that right, but you also should at least have a right to retain, what is ostensibly your intellectual property, like
Something I created.
the name you gave your account is your IP,
Mhm.
your follow, or it should be, you know what I mean? I maybe with X it might be different because X is something that's sort of in public fair use type
Yeah.
deal, but I think about tech life stuff, like I made that name up, you know what I mean? Like that should be my name. I mean, but Rob, you look like you chopping at the bit to say
Uh,
something. I
so
know
yeah,
it
so
should
I
be.
went and looked. I remember when the X account was taken from the gentleman who had it before. The terms of service are very clear. You do not own the account. It is property of, and this is not just this was not just a Twitter X thing. This is the case with Facebook. This is
Social
the case with
media, yeah.
Instagram. This is the case with Threads. This is now where you may get into some differences. The way that like your Gmail account, there's like, like your Gmail account is then your Google account, so you're tied to a whole bunch of different things. That licensing is a little different. Google still has a lot of power over your account, but it's a little different there. But when you're talking about just pure social media, everyone that is a corporate social media player, they actually maintain ownership. In fact, they are so they have so much power. You can't even necessarily transfer your account to someone else unless you get explicit permission from some of these social media platforms.
Yeah.
So what Elon is saying here, like I said, there's never a time, like, broke clocks are right, twice a day. I don't want to agree with this man, but in this particular case, the company that he bought, that was Twitter, the terms of service were such that we own these accounts. We can snatch them up for whatever reason that we deem appropriate. In the case of Infowars, he's just basically, his injunction is saying, like, you can do what you want to do with Infowars, but the accounts, there's, I think there's 6 or 7 different accounts. Those accounts were never property of Infowars. They were always the property of X, and we just want to make sure you understand that. And that's what his
Right.
injunction is about. It's like, you cannot transfer something you never had in the first place, which ultimately makes sense. It's like, it's like saying, well, I want to sell this house. That, just because you visited the house and was in the house doesn't mean that the house belongs to you.
You
You
was
don't
a
necessarily get the
squatter.
opportunity. Yeah,
You're just a
exactly.
squatter.
So
Well, so I'm a call kind of a audible, because Blue Skies in the rundown, and this is the premise of Blue Sky is that it sits on a federated protocol that allows you to
Mhm.
own your account and own your data and own everything about
Mhm.
whatever you're doing on that platform. So I think once people and we're and I threw that in there, the article in there, and just the fact that, you know, Blue Sky is super popular. It's actually coming for Threads neck. Basically, they are at 3.5 million daily active users right now. That's only 1.5 times behind Threads, when they were previously 5 times less, with fewer active users. So they coming for the next. But I think once people actually understand what that means, the idea of being on a federated protocol, I think Blue Sky is going to get even more popular,
Mhm.
because it's just because you'll be able to avoid situations like this, where somebody can come and say, hey, that's our name, hey, you're on our platform, hey, everything you've done to this point means nothing, because we can take it away at a moment's notice.
I do want to go back and say, because I don't want people to be confused. You do have the ability on X and other social media platforms that they actually own your account and own your data. You do have the ability on nearly all of them to go and check your data out and
Hmm.
remove it from the platform. So those things you can do. But the account itself is non-transferable unless unless in this case X allows allows it to be transferred. They actually get to make that determination. It is in their terms of service. So I do want to be clear that you can get your data out. It's just that you
Right.
can't take the account with you. And I've been saying this for years. It's like, you got to be careful where you're building, where you're building on that platform, because when you are on one of these platforms and you build it up, you don't own it. So it's
Mm-mm.
very dangerous. It could be, I really like, you know what? I like that account. I like that account name. We are building a service here, and we've named it the same thing that your account is. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to snack that account back for you.
That's
Here's some
it.
t-shirts. We'll even give you an aged account. You liked having a Threads account that was in the first 100,000. We'll give you one. We'll take one from somebody and give it to you. This is the first 100,000,
Oh,
but
and
the
that's
one
why
that you
people
have and is built
always
up, we're going to take.
talk about, owning your own properties. If you're making the internet your business, or anything about the internet, you trying to make your business as a content creator or influencer, whatever, you need to have a website.
Mhm.
Like, even if it's just a landing page to collect email addresses, like, you need to have somewhere else the people that follow you can go, um to stay in touch with you, because this could all go away at any moment. By the way, sign up for my newsletter at stephaniehumphrey.com.
Mhm.
Um, but you do. I mean, it's just, if you make your living on the internet in any way, at a minimum, a landing page should be, a requirement.
Well, since you jumped into the Blue Sky, let's continue the conversation. You're absolutely
Mhm.
right. One of the differences with Blue Sky, because it is federated, and I have done this with my Blue Sky account. You will notice that most people's their account name is something like their name dot blue sky
Mhm.
dot co or dot com or whatever.
It's social dot
That's
blue
social. Yeah, yeah.
b
So
sky or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
mine is just at Rob Dunwood. Why?
Mhm.
Because I own robdunwood.com, have for decade. I don't know if it's two, but it's definitely more. It's close to two. I've owned robdunwood.com forever. So I said, well, wait a minute. I can actually have my own name. I don't have to use someone else's name. So now, in essence, that account is mine as long as I keep my domain registered. And I do 5-year
Mhm.
registrations at a time, and I believe it is registered through 2029 at this point. um, I own that name. It can't be taken from me. They can't do anything with it. That is my account. And that is the difference between the corporate social media and the federated social media. So even though
Mhm.
Blue Sky is a company, they are a federated social media platform. So you can run other servers. People can put their own servers up. You can create your own feed. There's all kind of things that you can do. And Blue Sky is, you said Blue Sky is coming for Threads next. They absolutely are. And Threads is worried about this.
Oh, yeah, they shook.
Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, is doing a lot of things that people have been asking for the last year and a half. He's done more in the last 6 weeks um, on Threads, as far as giving
Right.
people what they want, than he did in the previous year and a half that thing existed. And I have really, probably since the election, really started to use Blue Sky. Why? Because a lot of people that I follow on Twitter or that I followed on X were like, "Hey, I'm done. I'm off X. If you want me, excuse me, I'm over on Threads. I'm over on Blue Sky." And what Blue Sky, to me, is an actual X competitor. It is a Twitter competitor. If you think about it, Jack Dorsey started this in Twitter. It was,
Yeah.
he started as a project in Twitter. So it makes sense that it really is what Twitter could have turned into. Threads is a text-based messaging platform, but it really isn't a Twitter competitor. Mosseri and the team and, over there at Threads, they really were trying to run this in a different way. They did seize on all the issues that X was having and
But they
capitalize
didn't,
on
yeah,
getting
they
it.
didn't do it right though. And there's
But
still too much algorithm manipulation. There's
Too
still too
much.
much.
yeah,
Too
Yeah,
too
much.
much.
it's like I don't even know who these people are. Like what is happening in this feed? Like they did not capitalize on
No,
the moment they had, especially
no.
considering they automatically migrated everybody with an Instagram account to this platform. Like if you had Instagram, you were automatically on Threads whether you were using it or not. So it's like you had a, you know, 300 million person captive audience that you fumbled. Basically they just totally fumbled it, because here come Blue Sky. And again, when people really understand what that idea of being on a federated platform means, that's what I think that's going to be. If Blue Sky can do a good enough job helping people understand what that
Now,
means.
so I was going to ask,
Yeah.
what is Blue Sky doing to make people understand the inner workings?
Not enough right
Okay.
now. I don't
Yeah.
feel. I think they're just scrambling to make sure their servers don't crash, because they're getting
Mhm.
a million people a day. So they're like just the growth is their priority. But I think they do need to launch some sort of PR
Campaign,
campaign,
right?
honestly, to help people understand what that means to be a part of that type of protocol. And I think you would see even more people come over, because if you know that, oh, this is my account, you know what I mean, and I own it and I can do whatever I want and I can take it with me and I can go here, there, and everywhere. That's going to be the game changer.
So here's what's happening on Blue Sky. Like Threads had a advantage that no other social media platform that doesn't start like Threads will ever have. You have arguably the biggest social media, company on the planet just said, "Hey, everybody's got Instagram accounts. Now you've got Threads accounts.
Right.
All you have to do is go and log into it, and everything is there. There's no creating an account and verifying and all the kind of stuff that you have to do when you create any other type of social media account. It was just come and say you want to be on Threads, and you automatically are now on Threads. And they were able to run those numbers up ridiculously fast. So I do want to be correct. They didn't just turn it on for everybody. You had to go and say, I want a
Right.
Threads account.
Right.
But that was it. You literally were clicking a button, I want Threads, and now
Right.
Threads is you just got a fully functioning account over there that is built off of your Instagram social graph. Um, Blue Sky is really a social media company that is building and is growing. By the people are going over here and saying, "Oh, I want to be here," and I'm signing accounts up. And I do agree that if they can get out in front, if they can do a marketing campaign and explain a lot of that stuff, that'll go a long way. But what's going to go even further way is the fact that everybody that you followed on another platform that you may no longer be, rocking with, is now over here. What I noticed is that on X, I basically was following Black Twitter account, or the Black Twitter hashtag
Hmm.
over on X, formerly Twitter. And when some folks over there said, "Hey, we're bringing this over now, and now we're going to have Black Blue Sky," or I think it's just
Black
called Black
Sky.
Sky. And
Hmm.
then there was something else. It was called Black Tech Twitter. That was something that I followed over on X. And when the actual Paris Athena is the name that she goes by, but when she said, "You know what, I'm moving over to, moving over to Blue Sky," there was a massive amount of people who just came over. It's like, "Oh, okay, well, if that's where we're rocking, that's where we're going." And Blue Sky introduced something called I just lost my train of thought. It's I have to look them back up, but there's a way that you can create accounts on Blue Sky, and invite people to come and follow them. Very quickly. I got to see what these things are called here.
Oh, it's I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Starter
I
packs.
Yeah, it's a starter pack.
Starter
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah.
What are those?
So a starter pack is so think of like a list on X where you can
Mhm.
just go and you can put as many people as you want to put into a list and follow them, and then people can come and follow your list. What
Mhm.
Blue Sky did was they created something called a starter pack. It's not a list, but it's similar, but it's publishable. So you can now say, here's my starter pack for all Black technologists that were in
Mhm.
this other place. And you can go and you can create these things and add to them, and then other people can you can share that, and then people now can go and look at your starter pack and they can say, oh, I want to follow this person and that person. Or you could simply say, I want to follow everyone on here. So what's happening is that people are very quickly building out their graph inside of Blue Sky to where it is very useful to them. One of the things that I said about Blue Sky, I think it was just last week, is that yes, it only has it's now more than 10% of what Threads has. But even though it is significantly small compared to Threads, it doesn't necessarily feel like it, because on Threads, you basically don't know what you're going to get. It's like it just, when you're looking at that, For You feed, you have no idea what's going to come up. When you're looking at your following feed, it's going to be based off of everyone that you followed. But when you
Mhm.
go over to Blue Skies and I say, oh, I specifically want to look just at what's going on in Black Twitter, I can now do that very, very easily
Right.
without having to try to jump through a bunch of hoops, having to create multiple accounts and all that kind of stuff. All the things that people have been asking for. Like I've been saying, man, I would love Threads even more if you just gave me a list. Just allow me to group people that I want to follow based off of why I want to follow them, instead of you trying to force feed me who you think I should follow. If you do that, it will make me like your platform even more.
And they
And
and
they just
it's
never would do it.
well, and it's so crazy because it's just like y'all could have just copied Twitter. Like it would have been fine. Like if you would have just gave us all of the best features of
Right.
that platform when you stood this thing up. Like you did all this work to create this platform. Like you could have just gave us those features. And like I said, they fumbled a huge
Yeah.
bag because people, I mean, especially if Blue Sky can continue to be ad free. That is a huge selling point for me. I don't know how long that's going to last
That's not
because
going to be
I think
no.
the money just is too, but if they can continue to be ad free, that plus I own my account. Come on, man. Like, why
Um,
would I be anywhere else? Honestly.
I don't know that they're going to be able to remain ad free unless they bring in a premium tier where they know that only 10, 12%, 15% of the people are going to join up to the premium tier, but that will actually fund the company and maybe you get some additional benefits or something like that. They are a company. They are a for-profit company. So at some point they have to generate revenue. That's
Yeah.
how,
Yeah.
the purpose of a company is for it to make money and, in many ways. And if you're not doing that, it's increasingly
I think
difficult
I
to run.
heard they were going to
So,
start charging people to do what you did. I haven't done it yet just because I didn't feel like going through the process. But to get your own domain over as your username, I think I read something that they were going to start charging people to do that.
um, I wouldn't be shocked if they do start charging. So if I were either of you, if you have if you have Blue Sky accounts, I would go
I
do it right
know.
now
I
while
need
it's
to
still
do it.
free.
I know.
Yeah. So and it's just crazy because, like I said, Threads. I like Threads. I still probably use Threads more than I use Blue Sky. But that is, those scales are going to, they're going to swap
What what
spots
what
here
is
probably pretty
your
soon.
what is your motivation for continuing to use Threads versus more usage over at Blue Sky?
So one of the reasons I like Threads is because I actually follow people on Threads, and I have just created friendships over there to where that's how I communicate with folks, and I like that. I like being able to, pretty much every morning get up and say
Yeah, but
something and have.
that's not unique to Threads. You can do
No,
that on
it's
Blue
not unique
Sky.
to Threads, but the people that I have those conversations with are on
Uh,
Threads. They're on that platform. So the fact that there are people who I rock with who are on Threads, that to me is what draws me to Threads. What is drawing me to Blue Sky is that there are an awful lot of folks now who are on Threads who I rock with, or I should say on Blue Sky who I rock with. Blue Sky has made it very easy for those people to find me and for me to find those people. They've made it very easy for me to group those people into categories that I want based and have my feed based off of what I want. So if I want to go and look at all the folks that I know to be a Black tech podcaster and just see what do you have to say today, I can very easily go do that on Blue Sky. That is virtually impossible to do on Threads right now. It was very possible to do on X. So for me is that I feel like where Threads, there's the community there that I like. What Blue Sky is giving me is the functionality that I had on X, on Twitter. And I do miss that. And so because of that, it's like, oh, wow, I can go follow these folks here very easily. Like, there are people who I'm following that I don't actually follow. I just have them in groups. I have them in either I'm following a starter pack or I have them in a list, and I don't even follow their account, but I'm just looking to see, what they're putting out. The other thing is that, one of the things that people really used to like Twitter for, they, in the beginning, I said they liked X for, was was like, where news broke. And
Yeah.
that has never been a thing for Threads. Threads was almost antagonistic to that happening on their platform.
Well, and I think they were probably suppressing a lot of that
Uh-huh.
in the algorithm as well, the same way they've decided to suppress political content. So yeah, you kind of took away the reason a lot of people, journalists especially, were on the platform in the first place.
Well,
So
with Threads, they didn't take it away. It just never existed there. So it was
yeah.
just like, it was just hard to, get, news expressed on that platform by design. Blue Sky has none of those issues. So if you were breaking news over on X and you decide, I just don't want to be on X anymore, because we just found out recently that, where Elon Musk has come out and said, yes, we actually are devaluing posts that have links in them. He said this on multiple occasions. So that they are now blocking news on that platform. When you go to Blue Sky, that's not happening. So if you are a news junkie, if you do want to know about all the news that is going in a particular sector or whatever, and there are journalists that you're following, many journalists have now started moving over to Blue Sky
Well,
to
and
have things happen over there.
I think, and I'm going to keep harping on this, but I believe wholeheartedly that social media in general is going to move to that model, a
The federated
federated
model.
model. So I think it's just in anybody's best interest to go ahead and get an account there, because you'll be able to port it to all the other platforms. That's the whole point, is that you'll have your account that you take to whatever platform you want to be on.
Whatever platform or whatever federated
Whatever
platform.
platform is
federated.
using that protocol.
Okay.
But I believe this is the protocol that's going to win out, quote unquote. Because what's the name of the one Mastodon's on, Rob?
So there's Activity Pub, and then
Yeah,
there
that's
is
it. That's it. So Mastodon is on a different type of distributed federated protocol called Activity Pub, but I think the federated protocol, it's authenticated transfer or something like that. The protocol that Blue Sky is on, I think, may end up being the one that sort of wins out. So you may see these other platforms migrate, if that makes sense, to this protocol, and then
maybe.
you'll be able to take your account with you wherever you go. So
So
I
so
think it makes sense.
that could happen. So Blue Sky is on the at protocol.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, they're just protocols. There's nothing that says you can't actually build a server and make those protocols compatible with each other and transfer from one to the other. So
Right.
that's one of the cool things with Federation. You can kind of make your own rules up. So do I think that Activity Pub is going to go away just because it's not as big as what Blue Sky is making the app protocol be? I don't think that. There's people who are on Mastodon, they are diehard. They love that platform. It's only just a tiny bit of them over there that are using it, but they absolutely use it. But I would see, before that goes away, because I don't see that happening. I just think that somebody will basically just make it so that
Make
you
it
can
so
be
that
on
they
that
can all
platform
talk to
and
each
link it so
other.
you can talk to each other across these
Mhm.
protocols. That's what I would guess would actually happen, as compared to one dying and the other one
Yeah.
consuming it and eating it up. But it is I am truly, and I don't know why my light keeps turning down here, but I am truly enjoying Blue Sky, for the reason I don't have as many conversations on Blue Sky at this point. As I said, I have, over the last year and a half, built up a community on Threads that I like having conversations with. I mean, there are people that I talk to on that platform darn near, I would say 2-3 times a week, over every week since I've been on the platform. So I'm not leaving it. Just like I'm not leaving Instagram. I'm not, I still have my Facebook account. You can still get a hold of me, although I very rarely ever log into it. Threads could become that for me. What I am liking about Blue Sky is that oh wow, all these things that I really liked. And I've been consistent on this. If you compare the features of Threads to the features of X, it is not even close. We are talking about, X is literally eons beyond where Threads is. And in some cases, Threads seems like they're they're purposely hamstringing themselves. That is just not the case with Bluesky. There are some things that Bluesky needs to do, like they need to get an edit, ability. They need to, probably increase the amount of things you can. There's
Yeah,
a lot of things they need to
that's
work
little.
on,
Yeah.
but they've got momentum. So much so, as you said, Steph, they're coming for Threads' neck. Threads is aware of that because, as I said, Threads has given us more in the last 6 weeks than we've seen in the previous, close to 18 months that platform has been out. So, y'all, this last story, and this is also social media related, but we had to talk about Cenat. This young fella, and I got to call him young fella because I think he's only 21 to 22 years. I think he's 22 years old. Just set a new record over on I just lost my train of
Twitch.
thought. On Twitch.
Twitch, yeah.
For he crossed over 700,000 subscribers on Twitch. He did something in the month of November that he called his Mafia-thon, where he basically ran a 30-day nonstop live stream. And he had folks like Snoop was on it, and Bill Nye the Science Guy was on it, and Serena Williams was on it. And he ran this thing for 30 straight days. And, but before he even got to the end, he beat his, he beat the number of subscribers that were out there. He also turned down, supposedly, a $60 million bag from Kick. That Kick is probably the biggest competitor, to what's the name again? To Twitch. I don't know why I cannot. I want to keep saying Amazon because Amazon owns Twitch, but it is the biggest competitor to Twitch. He supposedly turned down $60 million bag to go do what sounds like would have been like a 3-year deal, like $20 million a year. But he would have had to have switched from Twitch over to Kick to make that happen. And he said that he prayed about it. He talked to his mom about it and decided, nope, that Twitch has been good to me. I'm going to stay over here. But that youngster is racking up the money over on that platform.
I mean, like, I can appreciate the fact that he is using some of the money he made in this latest Mafia-thon to open a school in Nigeria. I can appreciate that's what he said he was going to use some of the money he got from that. But I guess it just in general around this whole idea, I guess I'm just the old fuddy-duddy yelling get off my lawn because I just don't. I'm not gonna say I don't get it. I absolutely get it, but I don't get why this is a thing. Like,
Cenat specifically or in general?
just streamers in general, not him, him specifically, and in general. Like, these people. I would think I was having a conversation with my sister or somebody recently, and I was talking about the idea of us in this attention economy, and there used to be a time when you actually had to do something that warranted that attention. And do something. And I mean, I guess he's a skilled gamer or something. I guess that's something. But it just feels like like whoever you all you have to be good at is getting attention,
Right.
which is like famous for being famous, basically. And
Well,
it just disappoints me, I think, in a sense, because there just isn't a place anymore, it doesn't seem like, for study and practice and skill and talent. And I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm probably just he's clearly, I'm not his target demographic, because there's just no way I would sit on Twitch and watch this boy or anybody over the course of 30 days and go back on and whatever. So
so here's the thing, right?
yeah.
This kind of goes back to the previous conversation of why everybody's moving to Bluesky. The reason why everybody's moving to Bluesky is because everybody's moving to Bluesky. That's why we're moving to Bluesky. When we move to Threads, everybody moved to Threads. Everybody moved to TikTok. I think Twitch not as a whole, but specifically, you want to be where everybody else is at. And you know where everybody else is at as far as the kids are concerned? They're on Cenat's stream. So I think to answer your question, Steph, I think in this age, all you got to be is entertaining. You don't necessarily have to be skilled. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to have the discipline or the consistency. If you are entertaining with whatever it is, now I may not
And that's
find
so subjective.
it is, but again, if you can draw that crowd in, what happens is people start to try, and this is the problem that I have. There is no, there's a lack of authenticity because what you're doing is what everybody else was doing. If Kai Cenat was doing a super sub a carpet fawn, whatever it is, and that worked, and there was a bunch of people who joined and watched or whatever the case may be, everybody else behind him that is trying to get to his level or trying to reach some sort of level that would enable them to do whatever, they're going to emulate
Yeah.
versus being authentic, right? There are some,
And
now, don't get me
original.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are some authentic and entertaining people out there. You want to talk about things that I'd be like, why am I watching this? There's a dude on TikTok. All he does is take apart watches and clean the watches and put them back together. He don't say nothing. There's no music in the background. There's no story. There's no nothing. But again, he's amassed enough of a following to, at the very least, continue to do it, right? What I
Mhm.
find troubling is some of these creators, some of these streamers specifically, will try something not because they enjoy it, not because it brings them joy. It's just because, well, that's what the other guy was doing to get him
Mhm.
X amount of streams. They got him
Right.
X amount of brands. And now you
Right.
got Kevin Hart coming to your house, you know, to
Right.
sit in
Yeah.
your living room while y'all sit on the look at a camera all day,
Right.
you know,
And do what exactly? Like, that's the thing. It's just
be on the internet.
Well,
right.
so here's the
You
thing.
literally are just there
Right.
because you can be. And
Mhm,
I so and like I said, I'm not mad at him because he's getting paid.
mhm.
I'm wondering about the people that watch. Like,
Right.
what do you
You
get
had to
out
ask
of
my
it? Like,
kids. My
what
kids
are you
watch this
watching this
guy.
person
Yeah.
for? What value does this person like I just
So
It's
it
guilty pleasure, man. Why do we
yeah,
I
watch? Why do we watch Real Housewives of Atlanta?
I don't even watch
Why do
that
we
no
watch
more.
Bravo? Some
be-
people just like to
people
Yeah.
just
watch
like it.
I
goofy,
listen,
stupid
I
Yeah.
stuff.
get it because I mean, if you looked at some of the people I follow on social media, like you'd be like, okay, yeah, and I will sit there and watch them go throughout their day for up to a point, though. Like, I'm not paying to subscribe to any of these people's
Oh,
Now
but
you're
you
not
are
feeds.
paying
paying.
for the
But
hearts,
you
for
are
the heart,
paying
for the
though.
hearts.
You are paying because you're on the platform and you're seeing ads. So
Yeah, but no, with
But
a
I'm
little
not
bit.
coming out of my pocket.
People are
I'll put
actually
it that
coming out their
way.
pocket to
Yes, people are
heart and
paying.
like and
yeah.
get that
Yes,
attention. And then when you pay,
yes,
like on
send them
YouTube,
gifts
like
and
if you're on a YouTube stream and you pay a couple bucks, your comment will be highlighted, and that propels the host or whomever to bring
Yeah.
attention
right.
to whatever you're saying.
And that's
So
like
Terrance, you
us. I
were
mean,
working out.
we have
go ahead.
Patreon comment, Patreon, and I love and thank all our patrons.
Yeah.
But I feel like,
Hundreds. I mean, we have hundreds of people
but
who
I
pay
feel
the
like,
three of us to listen to us,
but I feel
pontificate
like
about that.
we're providing a
Some sort
service.
of, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's not just pontificating because opinions are like, we know what opinions are like, but I
Mhm.
think it's still news to a
Mhm,
certain degree, and
Mhm.
we are still
we're the old
learned
guard, Steph. We got to
learn
step
it enough.
aside,
Like,
Yeah.
let these young kids come through here and do their little
apparently,
dances.
like I'm like it just it's yeah.
Like
It it
what is
boggles the
the food
mind.
blogger that like basically drives around the country in his van and he just
Keith
shows up?
Lee,
Keith
you talking
Lee.
about Keith?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like why is he so big? Because people like what he does,
Yeah, but
and
he's
because
still
people like what
providing
he does,
but like what Stephanie's saying, he's still providing a service. There are some people out there now. Again, I feel like I'm with Steph. I feel like I need to contribute in some shape, form, or fashion. But
Mhm.
there are people out there who would gladly take tons of money to where all they got to do is show you pictures of their feet. So
Well,
It's
I
like, what are
mean,
you gonna do?
there's
How
people
you gonna
right
tell
now.
people no?
Yeah.
There's somebody on Twitch right now sleeping, and
Mhm.
people are paying to watch this person sleep. Like that kind of thing is just
You got to chalk it to the game. You got to charge
yeah,
it to the game.
Terrence,
clearly,
you will know
because
this
I
quote. The
can't.
gatekeepers are gone. So it used to be
Mhm.
back in the day, in order to put this type of content out in front of an audience as large as what Kai Cenat has, you needed a TV studio, you needed a production company in order to do it. So you basically had production heads and folks who were running movie sets and TV stations deciding what America, or what, I wouldn't even say America because Twitch is worldwide. They decided this is what Earth gets to see based off of what we think you want. This is what we're going to give you. And they would take a little bit of feedback here and there, but ultimately they were making what they thought was going to be a hit in order to make money for themselves. And now we're in a situation to where you have someone like I have no idea. I've never watched more than probably 45 seconds of Kai Cenat at any one time. It's like, what is this? And it's like I'm off to the next thing. But clearly 700,000 some odd folks
He's
like it enough that they are paying him $7.99. Like, these are tier one subs.
that's insane. He's literally Truman, Jim
Mhm.
Carrey's
Yeah,
character in the Truman Show.
that's a great.
He's Truman, and we are all, well, not we, us, but we, the public, are watching the Truman Show.
And it's
And
and it's starting to get them in trouble too because they are, all right, how do I go to the next level? How do I go to the next level?
well,
So
and
they are
that's the thing.
repeatedly doing things that are questionable at the least,
Right.
damn near morally and ethically
And
wrong at the
that's
most.
what happens
Yeah.
when you don't have a definable skill or talent to back up the attention you're
Mhm.
seeking
Right.
from the attention economy. Like,
Mhm.
I can do tech videos for the rest of my life and sit in front of a green screen with a headline and say, "Hey, this is what you need to know about Bluesky. Everything is public." You know what I mean? I can literally do that for the rest of my life and continue to provide that service
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
the people that watch me. When you're doing what he's doing and what a lot of these quote unquote influencers are doing, you are always at the mercy of the attention and the
Right.
eyeballs. You're
Yep.
always at the mercy of the brands that you
Yep.
need to pay you and support you. You are
And the
always at the
platform.
mercy of the platform and the algorithm and everything else. And it's
I
just
don't want to be
like,
that.
what is the right?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm not.
what's
Yeah.
the end
Yeah.
game? I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
can get a whole bunch of money in a short amount of time, because like I said, this boy is making millions of dollars literally. So you can take that and flip it and become some real estate mogul or whatever you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
And people will change the channel eventually, and then
Right.
that's where people
Right.
start lying. They start,
Right.
manufacturing content.
Mr. Beast is kind
Right.
of
Just
slid.
being
He's still massive, so I don't want to act like he's not massive,
But he's
but he ran through
sliding,
some issues.
and as a
Marquez
result, he's.
Brownlee, that someone
Mhm.
in our space, he started getting a little bit of pushback, on some of the things that he's been doing and stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it eventually, it's going to wear out.
All
And,
good
and just
things
going back
come
here,
to an
this is
end.
the one thing I say. So Kai Cenat, he is beholden right now to Twitch. Twitch could also say, you know what, Kai, we didn't really like that last stream.
Right.
We're canceling your account. Now,
And
he
and
may
No.
they've done
have
it
some additional
before.
contracts to where maybe it's for him that can't happen. But for regular folks who just like, to where you just signed up and you ain't talked to a human, you did everything right through the Twitch and the Amazon, web interface. Yeah, if they decide they don't like you, they could turn you off. So I hope this young man, like a Mr. Beast has, he turned what he was doing on YouTube into businesses outside of YouTube,
Right.
to
Set some
where
stuff up. Yeah.
he lit
But even
he could
still,
turn
though,
off YouTube tomorrow and would still be making hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
I don't
Or
know, because as soon as that attention goes, that's the brands will go to the next thing. The companies will go to the
Well, it's
next
always,
thing.
yeah, you
yeah,
always
You
run
know.
that risk, but that's what anybody,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, that's celebrities come and go and that whole thing. But I still have to go back to, like, talent and skill is gonna win out. Like,
You're gonna lose, Steph.
Tom Hanks is still Tom Hanks for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And Tom Hanks could wake up tomorrow and be like, I want to make another movie, and will and did. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing, that kind of longevity is the way it is for a reason. You
These kids don't
know,
care about that. They just trying to
that,
get that money and get that attention in this short
I
amount of
listen.
window that I got.
I get it. I get it.
Here's
I'm
the
not
thing.
hating on nobody
Ho-
getting a bag, but it's
Hopefully,
so crazy to me.
hopefully this young man who is
Also,
22 years old is taking some of all of, because he is a multi-millionaire. He's making millions and millions of dollars per month. Hopefully he's got a really good financial advisor at this point, and he's
Seriously,
putting some of that money away, because he could never make another live stream again. And he should be in, we're not talking about just him. He should have
he should be.
generational wealth
he should be
forever at this
good.
Ask
point.
Yeah, he
ask
should
them
be good.
NBA players.
Well, that part,
That's what I'm
Well,
that
that's what I'm
part,
saying.
saying. That's why I'm
that
hoping
part.
that this is,
Yeah,
that this is
he should
what he's
have
doing.
he should get some people around him that know something about managing money and start diversifying his income streams. Like seriously.
Yeah, so Ray made a good point about the Truman Show, because the difference with the Truman Show is that he wasn't putting himself on the camera. He had
Right.
no agency in his show,
True.
which is true. So yeah, because
He didn't
that
even know
is,
he was on
he didn't even
TV.
know he was on it. So yeah,
But
these folks know what they're doing.
I know.
And like I said, I'm not mad at him. It's like I tend to agree with both of you, but it's like, you know what? Just because it's not for me doesn't mean that it shouldn't be for
Listen,
anybody.
get your bag,
So
Kai, and
because
anybody else. And trust
yeah,
me, if Kai's people call me tomorrow and say come on his
You be
live
sitting in
stream,
yeah,
this living
guess
room.
what?
it is
Yeah,
like
yeah, better believe it.
exactly. Um,
Yeah, better believe it. And we can debate the need for skill and talent versus entertainment. We can have that conversation on camera.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Call me,
this was
Kai.
the social media episode of our show
Holla
this
at your
week,
girl.
y'all. We talked about all kind of social media this week, but I do, before we get out of here, want to give a shout out to our new patron. We picked up a patron, which is great, because I don't think I even did the Patreon call out last week. We got a new patron. That Mario is now a patron,
Thank you,
who
that
was
Mario.
supporting the Tech Job. So we want to give you your flowers, appreciate what you're doing. And once again, for anyone else who would like to also support the Tech John via Patreon, all you have to do is head over to thetechjohn.com. That is thetechjawn.com/Patreon. And any one of those tiers, goes a long way to help us do this show. So with that,
Mhm.
Tech Life Steph, tell folks how they can get at you.
You can follow me all around the web at Tech Life Steph, or sign up for my newsletter at stephaniehumphrey.com.
And you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And I am at Robb Dunewood on all the things. And we're also at the Tech John, the Tech JAWN on all things. Come holler at us, have you holler until we meet again in a week's time. Peace.
Peace.